Hi, my name's Jessica. About 3 years ago, I shared a video of my son Tristan and his stem cell journey. I wanted to reshare that video in hopes that it could draw more awareness and that people that maybe missed it the first time around could catch it now.
My husband and I have 3 sons. Our oldest son has high-functioning autism. To look at him, he looks perfect, and he is. And he's kind and he's sweet, but he's always kind of struggled socially. My husband had tears in both his shoulders and received stem cell therapy. After that, he did a follow-up about a year later, and doctor mentioned that now we were able to bank stem cells, and he had offered it for a 5-year-old. And so my husband's like, why would you do that for a 5-year-old? And doctor said, for autism. And with us having a son on spectrum, immediately had all the questions. We decided that we would try it, and we really weren't looking for any changes. But if there was a possibility that it could help him, even in the slightest bit, he went in and he did a bone marrow aspiration. We opted to have him sedated for it so he wouldn't feel anything. He came back and they did an infusion in his spine. We really weren't expecting much. I talked to one of the other doctors that's there in the office, Dr. Mehta. He's the one that actually did the procedure. He encouraged us to be sarcastic with Tristan. He said that being sarcastic with him would engage the neurons in his brain. With the stem cells there, it would help heal and modulate some of the growth there. We took him home, and he was sore for a few days, but he went to work the next day. He was adamant that he wanted to go back to work. The procedure was very easy on him. About 2 weeks after the procedure, my husband called me in tears. He said, guess what Tristan just did? He just called me to chit-chat. He just called me to see how my day was going without a reason or for any purpose. He just wanted to chit-chat and see how my day was going. And I know that sounds, to someone who doesn't have a child on spectrum, that seems like nothing. But for us, that's a big deal. After that, we started noticing little things, but then again, you're looking for it and you don't know what's true or what you're just hoping is true. But then one day, me and T were sitting, or Tristan, we call him T, we're sitting outside, and he looked at me and he said, so how was your day today? And I looked at him, and the whole time he's making eye contact with me, and this is something he's always struggled with. We have a slew of pictures where we take 15 pictures and finally get one where he's looking at the camera. And so he was looking at me straight in my eyes, and he said, how was your day today? And I looked at him and I said, my day was good, Tristan, how was yours? And he went on to tell me how his day was, all along keeping eye contact with me. And then I looked at him and I said, Tristan, you're looking at me straight in my eyes. And he said, well, I'm supposed to, aren't I? And I said, well, yeah, bud, but that's usually really hard for you. And he just looked at me and said, I know, right? And never broke eye contact with me. And I'm trying to compose myself. And I was like, that is something for him to go that extended time. And then other little things he's 17, he had never shown an interest in driving. Definitely not something we were encouraging. Still, we're really not. But he was adamant that he wanted to take the test for his driver's permit. And he did, and he passed. And so we've been working on driving. All through this, he's been more interested. He asked us more questions about how our day is. He is interacting with his brothers more. It's not an overnight thing, but I've noticed little things where they're able to kind of reason with each other a little more. He's actually putting together reasons in a calm manner, which isn't like him. Prior to him receiving stem cells, he was at a youth event where all the students had kind of rushed the stage. They were singing, they were worshiping the Lord. It was really beautiful. And Tristan was with his friends. I was standing far enough behind him, and I noticed that he wasn't really engaged in what was happening. Everyone else around him was engaged, they were singing, and he was kind of distracted. He was messing with his shirt. You could tell he was not interacting at all with what was going on around him. And for a mom, for any parent, you want your children to be able to function in society and to be able to function in a healthy manner socially. And even if you're religious in worship, you want him to be able to connect in that. And that wasn't something that we had ever seen him be able to do. And so, at the beginning of July, they went to student camp, church camp. And I ended up getting a text message from one of the leaders. And she said, well, I can read it. She texted me. At the end of it, she said, also, wanted to brag on your oldest son. I loved watching him worship at camp. He loves the music and he participated in all the fun. He thought no one was looking, but I enjoyed standing near him and his friend group each day at worship as he fully allowed himself to dance and praise the Lord. When you take that and you combine it with the fact that we were talking one day, he went to group and he came back and I was asking him about his group. It's a social group where they work on being able to interact socially with each other. It's for teenagers on spectrum. And he said that they had asked him about chores. And I asked him, I said, so did you mention about doing the dishes? And he's like, well, you know I did. He said, because you know how much I love doing the dishes. And I'm like, Tristan, you're being sarcastic. And he's like, why, yes, I am. And so it's little things like that he's being sarcastic and he's asking how our day is. He's making eye contact and we're seeing little glimpses of him being able to just interact socially with others. It really gives us hope for the future. And this is all after only one infusion. For us, we're going to continue, but we're really hopeful that we've seen this many gains just after one.
So wow, after seeing that and seeing where we were then 3 years ago to where we are now. So back whenever we filmed that, T was 17, we were seeing so many things that it was just almost like rapid fire. But now we're 3 years down that path, just being able to see the progression going from that little kid who had so much growing to do to now the young man that he is, and the progression of stem cells and how much of an impact they've made. It's just astounding to me. When you have a child on spectrum, you don't really know what their future is going to look like. To be honest, I had actually kind of mentally prepared myself that T would just live with us forever. And he's amazing, and my husband and I were perfectly content with that. And now I'm having to brace myself because there's going to be a day when he moves out. There's going to be a day whenever he may start a family. All of these things that I never thought we were going to have, I'm now having to prepare myself for because of this journey that we set out on 3 years ago. And I'm just so grateful just for the Lord allowing us to find this right here in our own country. We were able to let him see his own doctor, stay here, receive his own stem cells, and just the impact that that's made for him, and even just the way that he's able to interact with us here at home, with his brothers. It's because of the changes that we saw just within our own family with Tristan. We couldn't really sit back and not be passionate about it. We couldn't not, have a place where families could bring their loved ones and to see what their future could change into. For us, the changes that we saw in Tristan really ignited this passion in us. And that's ultimately what led us to starting Vita Nova Stem Cell Professionals, knowing that there are other families like ours and knowing that there's an opportunity for them to receive stem cell therapy right here in our country. I mean, how can you not be passionate about that? How can you not want to scream it from the rooftop? We're really excited to see the impact that it has on others. So if you or someone that you know or love is on the autism spectrum or struggles with a neurological disability, that's struggling with hope, that doesn't know what their future is going to look like, then send them our way. We would love to let them see Dr. Meta and Kate, let them sit down and tell their story and see if their future looks different. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you're able to check out my story, and hopefully I'll be able to meet you in person.